So, Leon, first of all, I love this movie. I'm a big fan of action movies, and this one seems like a throwback from action movies that I was so familiar growing up with, except it has a lot of modern day sensibility, and the characters feel a lot more fleshed out than you would see back in those early, like, 90s movies. But one of the characters that really caught my eye is Tyrone Pettis. Talk to me and chat me up a little bit about Tyrone Pettis.
Tyrone is he's the antagonist of the movie for sure. Feels like him against the world, but he's not your typical antagonist. You know, he's one that cares for his community. He's one that is on the wrong side of the law because he feels like he has to be. And I think he makes for an interesting character, especially in an action movie.
I couldn't agree more. There's that scene when we see him directly interacting with the community around him, asking for like report cards. You know what I mean? And it shows that he actually takes a vested interest in his community. Is there anyone that you drew inspiration from when channeling Pettis?
No, not really. You know, I think one of the great things about acting on film and when they're done properly is that you have conversations with the director and the writer. You have conversations, you know, extended conversations.
Sure.
And I was able to have that with Wes. And I think because of that communication, you saw what you saw. You know, I always say that, you know, a good performance of an actor in a movie is a combination between him and the director.
Right.
It doesn't matter what I'm doing. If the director doesn't put me in the right frame and doesn't frame me right and put me in the right situations, you don't see it. So
absolutely.
I like working with Wes. I think he's an up and coming action director. And the fact that him being an African-American makes him even more interesting to me.
I couldn't agree with you more. Actually, I wanted to talk to you about Wes, actually. What does his directing style add to this film?
His directing style is everything to me in this film. And if you look at shots, you know, whether it be me, Kevin, Frank, you know, all our characters, he has a way of getting in on your face.
Right.
You know, in little angles. Sometimes it's, you know, with the cameras turned a different way and stuff. And I think it makes you feel like, wow, I'm in this car. I'm in this office. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as the film starts off, we kind of get that tone of it, and it almost inserts you right into the action when we get that like 18 months earlier, like flashback scene. It almost feels like you're right there with that crew. I couldn't agree with you more. Something you spoke about just a second ago was kind of working with Wes in the collaboration process. Can you talk to me about working with Wes as a collaborator, really fleshing out the character of Pettis?
Yeah, you know, it happened from our very first meeting before I was even on board with the film, when he was just wanted to have a conversation with me because he wanted to offer me the movie. We were just talking about the character. And I think from the very beginning, I had ideas that he loved and I loved his ideas. And so it just seemed like it was supposed to be, you know what I'm saying? And he just felt, you know, he even said it after our first meeting. He says, man, I really feel like it's going to be exciting with you playing Pettis. And I said, yeah, I'm gonna try to make it exciting.
I mean, look, you even have like this, it's this tone and this cadence and this kind of like swagger that Pettis has, that there's little nuances that you could tell it's more than just your typical like villain of the week. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely.
Now, go ahead.
No, definitely. That's exactly what both of us wanted. We didn't want it. We wanted him to be a villain that stood out, that was different, that you'd be talking about after the film, that, you know, how it wasn't, you know, just like any other film you saw.
Absolutely. Now, Bruce Willis plays Alston. Can you talk to me about Alston's relationship with Pettis and how that's kind of explored throughout the film?
Well, you know, it's a relationship that's, you know, very hush hush, but it's everything in this film at the end of the day. How he stays in office,
right,
is from the money that I make. And he's expecting things from me. I'm expecting things from him, but it's usually a little lopsided,
right,
to say the least, you know. But when you run a drug syndicate, and whether you're helping the community or not, having a police commissioner in your back pocket is something that you're willing to pay for.
Absolutely. Now, look, Bruce Willis is an action legend, an action icon, and you get to share the screen with him. What kind of surprised you the most about his performance?
Nothing surprised me. I thought that, you know, being the vet that he is, you know, he's locked into his character. And, you know, for me, you know, I'm always locked into my character. So like when I see him, he's a police commissioner to me, you know, and he's also someone that I think is the devil. So, you know, that's basically how I approach it. And, you know, and for me, an actor is really good when he doesn't make me think anything other than what I'm supposed to be thinking.
Right. Right. Now, what did you want to bring to the role of Pettis that wasn't necessarily on the page?
What I wanted to bring in the role of Pettis is someone that is someone that you like to watch because he's unpredictable. You know, I've always liked to be, you know, that person on screen that, you know, you watch and just go, oh, all right. You know, you know what I'm saying? You know, and you know, this movie and this role allowed me to do that. I got to chew up some scenery.
Absolutely.
And so, right. And when an actor, when you get a chance to do that, you know, hopefully make the most of it. And what I wanted people to see in Pettis was somebody that has a heart, who cares about his community, that is a victim of his circumstance more than anything else. I think there's a scene with Connor's wife.
Yeah.
In which he reveals a part of himself that you wouldn't have known if she didn't ask that question.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? I want to talk about Kevin Dillon for a second, because I feel that like a lot of people are going to be surprised by Kevin Dillon being such an action star in this. What do you think fans are going to be excited for about Kevin's performance?
I think they're going to be excited if they're fans of Kevin Dillon. I think they're going to be excited to see him play his characters, you know, excellent in this action film. And to see him in a lot of ways, the actor that we saw before Entourage. You know, Kevin has always been a very talented actor, you know, from his very first days. You know, I mean, he's been in some really wonderful films, some wonderful directors, Oliver Stone, and the list goes on and on. And I think that people who are fans of that work, like myself, you know, want to see him in those serious situations and see him do his thing. And I think, if anything, I think that the Entourage series was more of a career turn for him.
Sure.
Than it is the other way around.
Right. It's true. It's totally true. Now, you know, one thing I love about this movie is the cast, because it's an eclectic group of actors, from veterans to newcomers. You got Bruce Willis, Frank Grillo, Kevin Dillon, yourself, but also newcomers like Vernon Davis from the NFL. Can you share any fond memories from working with your co-stars on this film?
Yeah. You know, I think that, you know, when you're in a little town with Jackson, Mississippi, most people haven't been there. You know, you find yourself spending a lot of time getting to know people and talk to them. And, you know, like you mentioned, Vernon is a great guy, and it's good to see him. It's good to see him in this movie. I know that he's passionate about his acting and, you know, wants to do more of it. So, you know, whenever someone's locked in like that, you know, I always like to make sure that, you know, they're getting what they want out of the film, you know, and I think he did. And everyone, you know, Brooke is fantastic. She played a great role. I love doing scenes with her.
Yeah, she's great.
I thought some of those scenes in the office with her were some of the best of the movie. And you know, she's so real and believable, you know, like working with her. I hope I get to do it again. And yeah, it's just great, you know, seeing Frank do his thing. Frank, you know, we all know Frank is, you know, killing it, and, you know, he's a wonderful actor. So yeah, it's just, you know, for me, I like making art. I like telling stories. I like people to see the stories that I tell. And I like to work with people that, you know, that I like, and that hopefully I get to work with again. And I can say that about this movie, that everyone was like that. Yeah.
Now,
it's not always that way,
Right. It's not always that way, right? Now, the last question I have for you is I've heard in the past other actors say that they learn something from the characters they play through portraying different characters on screen. Is there anything you learned about yourself while playing Tyrone Pettis?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know if there's anything. I don't know if I walked away saying that I've learned something about myself in this particular role of Pettis. You know, I think I get so locked into breathing life into my character and making sure that there's, you know, anything that can be done in this scene that, you know, that can be done should be done.
Right.
You know, because unlike theater, which I love, which is my first love, you play a scene in a movie, that's it. No one's ever going to play that scene again.
Right.
You know, that's it. You know what I'm saying? They're not coming back the next night to see you do it different. Do you know what I'm saying? And so, you know, when you have a scene, you see it on paper, and you're like, it's all right, this could really be something. Let me make sure that I'm giving it all it can be.
It's amazing. That's incredible. Look, Leon, fantastic job on the film. Thank you for your time and thank you for the insight. And the film's fantastic, man. This is right.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, tell everybody you can about it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm all about these fun. Like these are like these are literally like the movies that I would go to a theater for. You know what I mean? Sit back, relax, turn my brain off for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and just eat popcorn and watch some great storytelling and explosion on the screen. That's all.
It's really fun. It's really funny because, you know, action movies are the most watched movies around the world, of course, and they appeal to the lowest common denominator most times. Right. You know, and being in a bubble in New York and Los Angeles, you know, everyone's all hoity-toity about their taste in films.
Yes.
But it's really crazy because, you know, the trailer to this movie, which I think is very good. You know, people are seeing it and they're coming back to me, if I may be frank. They're going like, now, that's my shit.
Yes.
That's my shit. That's the kind of shit you need to be doing.
Yeah, man, look, it's almost it's almost like there was this, you know, this drop off of just fun action films. And then you're right, like being in LA and New York and those bubbles, especially in Oscar season, you know what I mean? There's always these kind of like movies, but sometimes I just need something that's refreshing for me, for my soul. And this is that movie, man. But I appreciate your time, Leon. Thank you so much for your time.
Hey, my pleasure.